Hey guys, this is the WalterFootball.com podcast for May 9th, 2024. We're going to be looking at the 2024 fantasy football rookies, discussing the relevant ones that are going to be drafted this summer and kind of maybe guess where their ADP is and then talk about whether it's too early or too late. So excited to get into them and excited to have Kenny on for the first time in a while. So we'll introduce him in 1 second. Before we do, I'd like to say please hit like, subscribe, comment below, share this video. Visit the link in the description for the merch store. All that will mean a lot to us. If you really want to help support the show, we have super chats and super stickers. You guys have been so helpful with us with these super chats and super stickers recently. Slew yesterday with the 555, John Sanders with his usual 911, and then Degeneron, Kevin Kovac, Germ. We've had so many guys who are really helpful, and it really keeps the show going because, as I always say, these YouTube ads pay absolutely nothing. The last time we had a show where we didn't have a super chat or super sticker, we got a 71 cents from YouTube ads. Kenny, that doesn't sound like a lot, right? 71 cents.
You need to be careful where you spend that. I mean, that's just unbelievable.
I know. Well, at least like back when we were in high school, you could get a McDonald's cheeseburger. I remember there was like hamburgers at 49 cents, cheeseburgers at 59 cents. It was great. I used to just go to McDonald's and get 4 cheeseburgers and stuff them in my face. But now they're like $8, and like we'd have to do like 9 shows just to get a cheeseburger. So please help.
Cheeseburgers are not what? How much?
Listen, I haven't gone to McDonald's in a while, but I was talking to my dentist. And I was talking about like how Starbucks' stock has collapsed. It dropped like 20% because their earnings were horrible. And I'm like, well, people are taking out loans to buy groceries. No one's going to Starbucks. He's like, yeah, that's true. No one's going to McDonald's either. He's like, their cheeseburgers are now $12, and people are complaining. I'm like, $12? He's like, yeah. He's like, I went in there the other day, and the cheeseburger was $12. Because like they've like made it bigger or something like that, but like. I guess because they're losing money too. I don't know, but yeah. So if I just said $8, but if it's 12, that is it's about 15 shows that we have to do to afford a McDonald's cheeseburger. So you guys really want to help us, these super chats, super stickers would be great. Or you could buy my new book, Jerks of the College Year. It's available on Amazon. If you like Jerks of the Week, you might like Jerks of the College Years. It's written in the same sort of fashion. It's all my stories from my 6 years at Penn State. As you can see here on the cover, I ran into a lot of weird people at Penn State over the years, and I waited a long time to get this book out, and it's finally here. I'm excited for it. So as you can see, Kenny, there's a 5-star rating here, so it must be an amazing book. So
that's right. You've got 1 5-star rating, which is remarkable. I mean, I love it.
Yes. So yeah, I mean, it's 5 out of 5. So
that's right.
It must be the best book ever.
100% of the ratings you've gotten are 5 out of 5. That's fantastic.
Right. Yeah, seriously. So yeah, Jerks of the College Year is available on Amazon. So check that out. It's another way to support us. But yeah, as I said before, Kenny making his triumphant return. Kenny's had some meetings, and we had the draft, and it's been tough to get us together, but he's finally back, and it's fantasy season, so it makes sense for him to return now. Kenny, how have you been?
Oh, I have been gallivanting around the globe. For my big part of my day job, I'm fundraising. I was telling you before I came on. So if there's anyone watching does development or partnership development or fundraising, you want to give me any tips, shoot me a tweet. Other than that, I'm enjoying a nice tall glass of almond milk, or as my wife calls it, almond juice. It's not real milk, it's juice, almond juice.
Almond milk. I'm disappointed to hear almond milk. I thought that was like a soy boy type of drink. I'm shocked, frankly, that
I've got a little bit of sensitivity to dairy. I'm not like totally dairy, okay. Like not totally lactose intolerant, but too much milk or too much late night kind of messes with my stomach. Probably too much information. People don't want to know about my bathroom issues. But so late at night, I have to drink the almond juice, as my wifey likes to refer to it as.
Almond juice. Almond milk, almond juice. Either way, not a fan. But I guess you do you. Slew says, "Did you ever eat the McDonald's fish witch?" No. Filet of fish, yes. Fish witch? No, I'm not sure what that is. I love the Egg McMuffin, and I was so disappointed that McDonald's stopped their all-day breakfast.
Oh yeah, that was great.
It was like the only thing I liked at McDonald's was the egg McMuffin. I used to get like 3 and then hash browns. It was so awesome. And they're like, no, now like I went to McDonald's hoping to get egg McMuffins for dinner, and like I just couldn't do it. So like
Side note, according to Chat GPT, the average cost of a McDonald's cheeseburger across America is currently $2.89.
I don't know if ChatGPT is updated though.
Yeah, I mean, I go to McDonald's quite a bit. I am an obese person, and so obese, not obese, but I am a beast too. Both of those. Yeah, I'm like, I think I've paid like $3 or $4, but I don't think it's 8. Maybe the meal, maybe like with fries and drink, it's more expensive.
I'm gonna have to go in because my dentist was like adamant that it was $12. I'm like really? He's like, yeah, because he said he went in, and I heard the McDonald's cheeseburgers were more expensive because they made them bigger. I don't know. We'll have to see. We'll have to see if my dentist is right or ChatGPT and you are right. It's Kenny ChatGPT versus my dentist. So
I'm gonna have to go. See, now I'm inspired. And now, I mean, I'm gonna have to suffer again. I'm a man of the people. The people need to know. So now I'm going to have to go to McDonald's tomorrow. It's see the tough life I live, sacrifices I make for you people.
yeah, I really appreciate it, Kenny. No, I really wonder, like maybe it's different across states. Maybe it's in the Pennsylvania McDonald's is different. So we'll both have to go to McDonald's tomorrow. I'm going to get 1 cheeseburger, and I want to see how much it
high
is.
Priority item.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So Quacky T says, I'd actually like to hear more about your stomach issues, Kenny. Would you like to embellish on what happens?
Let's just say if I eat a lot of ice cream, my wife doesn't want to sleep in the same bed as me. Let's keep it at that.
Okay. Yeah. All right. That's fair enough. And Quacky also says ChatGPT isn't well versed in fast food. I think that is correct. I think ChatGPT doesn't know. Kenny, I'm so frustrated with ChatGPT. I was trying to make a shirt that says there are and then 4 lights, like actually 4 lights. It's a reference to Star Trek: The Next Generation. It's I don't know if you ever saw. I think I've told you about that episode before, where
yes,
the Captain Picard's tortured, and there are 4 lights, and they kept trying to make him say there are 5 lights. You know, just trying to have him give up on life and everything like that. And he was adamant and kept saying there are 4 lights, and it's like a reference to like not allowing anyone to brainwash you and just saying what you know is true. And I think it's really important. So I was trying to make that shirt for the merch store. And I kept trying to ask ChatGPT, I'm like, please make me light or like 4 lights in a row on 4 tiny lights in a row. And like it would give me like 2 and then 2, or like they'd be big, and I asked for small ones, and like it's just like wouldn't pay attention to my requests. And I just so angry at ChatGPT.
We are 8 minutes in. We've talked about almond milk, my stomach issues, McDonald's cheeseburgers, your great book, and your frustration with ChatGPT. I mean, this is high quality. This is high quality entertainment.
I know. Well, let's keep going. No, and also, as you can see on the screen, my new T-shirt, also money laundering, and very interesting colors, Kenny, if you noticed correctly. All right. So also says Quacky Predators done, Maple Leafs done, Magic done. Now, what do I do? I'm running out of burial plots. As if in case you couldn't tell, Quacky like those, but you know, I hope you guys hedged. I bet on the Predators. They're like 60 to 1 to win the Stanley Cup. And they played the Canucks. I hedged with the Canucks. They were like 15 to 1. So I have them now. But I think they were losing to the Oilers right now. Yeah, they're down 2-0, but that's only game 1. So I may have to hedge with the Oilers.
People still watch hockey? Is that still a thing?
I don't. I mean, I was told to bet a good team is 60 to 1, so I listened. And I mean, they were a good team. They just they lost like all 3 home games, but they won twice in a row. It was weird. But no, I'm more interested in the money. I don't really care. I've actually gotten into golf. Like I watch golf on Sundays now, just because I've been betting it. But if I don't bet it, then I'm not watching. But all right, let's go ahead.
Hockey is just like I haven't watched hockey in a long time, but anyway.
I used to watch hockey all the time in the 90s when the Flyers were great and they had the Legion of Doom. that was an awesome team to watch. But I just stopped. It's just like way too many regular season games, and then the Flyers have kind of stunk for the most part. The Flyers are good. I'll watch the playoffs if the Flyers are in it, but other than that, I just don't really care. And Chris says Walt will be betting Caitlin Clark games soon. I feel like there's not gonna be any value with her. Like everyone is so hyped on her. Like she's gonna be a huge favorite in every game. Like I feel like there's gonna be value with the underdog, but if she's as great as they say she is, then maybe not.
Yeah, I will tell you where the value is when it was buying season tickets for the Indiana WNBA team. I've never watched a WNBA game in my entire life, but I did purchase season tickets, and I've been selling them online at a profit. It has been It's better than the stock market. This is fantastic.
Oh man, I wish I would have thought of that. It's a good one.
I called in at 7 a.m. on a Monday morning when they went on right before she was drafted. It went on sale, and I bought. There was a guy at my church who called me on Sunday night and said, "Kenny, I got to wait for you to make a couple extra bucks. You interested?" And he was like, "We should go in and buy season tickets to the Indiana WNBA team." And I'm like, "I've never watched WNBA." He's like, "Doesn't matter." And I was like, "He was right. We've already sold a few for 4x. It's been fantastic."
That's awesome. Congrats. Yeah. Do you know what the team name of the Indiana WNBA team is?
Oh, they're the I don't even know their name actually.
Because saying it that way, I'm like, there's 0% chance Kenny knows this.
I think the Fever. I think
Fever. That sounds correct. I think
let me ask ChatGPT.
Let's see if they say it correct. All right, Quacky with the Fever. Quacky knows.
It's the Fever, yes, yeah.
I had no idea either, but I was like, there's 0% chance Kenny knows. But well, to your credit, you proved me wrong. Chris says he'll be getting some good tips from Antonio Brown and CTESPN. I don't know if you've been following Antonio Brown's Twitter.
I have, man. I actually legitimately feel sad. Like it legitimately hurts my heart because I think this guy has some serious mental issues, and it makes me sad.
Oh, I feel like he's having like one of the best second careers I think we've ever seen.
I think he legitimately has brain damage, and it makes me sad.
That's probably true. Man. That's probably true, but I think he's so hilarious. If I had the money, I would hire him on the site. I just unfortunately I can't pay him, but I would love to bring him on WalterFootball. Anyway, Kenny, you need to give us some good tips, ideas that's solid and 100% legal advice. But Slew says, Kenny, the IRS is watching tonight. Of course,
I better claim those monies.
Yeah, of course they need their money so they can send it overseas. Quack says, I've got a fever and the only prescription is more cowbell. All right, let's get into the fantasy rookie rankings. We're just going to go down my list and then talk about each player, like until we get to players who are probably not going to get drafted. And then we'll kind of guess their ADP. Well, I know their ADP because I have it up here, but you can probably guess, and then we can talk about it. This is too high or too low. And first guy is Marvin Harrison Jr., obviously the son of the great Marvin Harrison, class act on and off the field. Marvin Harrison Jr. he's fourth overall to Arizona, number one receiver for Kyler Murray. He projects like CD Lamb, a type of receiver like that. The downside here is like Murray tends to get hurt a lot, so he might be dealing with some bad backups. Who is Arizona's backup anyway? Because they've gone through some players. I'm pulling up the depth chart here. It's Desmond Ridder. Okay, yeah, they signed him. So like Drake London had good games with Desmond Ridder. So if Ridder has to come in, it's not like the worst thing, but still, it's not ideal that that Murray's going to be injured a lot. But obviously, I know we had a discussion about Harrison because you chided me that I gave the Cardinals a B+ and those too low and that was a bad grade, but. Kenny, when I was in school, I'd love B+, so I insist this is a good grade. So
I just didn't understand why is it not an A? Like they drafted a great player. Like I know you're like, oh, you got to trade, you could trade now, but like at some point you got to like I don't know. I like the idea of taking a great. Marvin Harrison has a chance. Like he has a chance of Hall of Fame talent, right? He's that kind of guy. Having that guy on your team for 15 years could be really helpful to you. I don't know. So yeah, passing on him feels like could be a thing you look back on and really regret.
I just think that the Cardinals aren't one player away. Like Harrison's not going to get them to the playoffs this year.
Yeah, but would
And
you hope? I mean, you hope he has a 10, 12-year career, right? And then,
sure, but just the way their rosters right now with like Murray eating up so much money, I think you have to acquire so many assets because they're going to have to rebuild completely, like starting next year or the year after. And I think just having great assets and like the big problem here for Arizona is that Murray is probably going to be gone in a year or two, I think, and they're going to have to get a franchise quarterback. And getting a pick for next year would allow them to be in a great position to trade up for a franchise quarterback. You have like Shedeur Sanders next year, Carson Beck. Like, there's some good quarterbacks available next year, but like Arizona's not terrible. Like, they're just not good either. They're going to win 6 or 7 games, I think, this year, and they're not going to be in position to get a franchise quarterback. But if they had 2 picks next year, they could trade up. Kind of like Minnesota was able to this year, although they didn't. So I think this kind of like makes Arizona 500 for a while. It's going to put them in purgatory, kind of like the Saints. But still, I mean, B plus is still good grade though. Like,
things change in the NFL so much. Things change so, like, we say we're so confident in how teams are going to be. Things change so much. Like, having a great talent, I think Marvin Harrison Jr. is going to be a phenomenal talent, Hall of Fame type player. Like, that's to predict. Say DC stays healthy, so I think it's smart to have a guy like that. And then whenever you get your quarterback in 2 or 3 years or 4 years, then you've got a guy who's in his prime. I mean, I think it's likely Harrison's the best receiver in the NFL at some point in his career.
Could be. I just think that Arizona could have moved from 4 to 11. They had a trade in place, as Charlie was talking with from sources around the league. So they could move from 4 to 11 and then traded back up, kind of like they did last year when they went from 3 to 12 to 6. And I think maybe you don't get Harrison, but maybe you get Malik Neighbors. You go from 4 to 11 and then up to 8. Because I think if a quarterback goes 4, you still have a tackle go 5. Chargers going tackle. Then Harrison goes 6, and then Titans still go tackle at 7, and then 8 at Atlanta. I think at that point Atlanta could trade down and still get Penix at 11. And so if you're Arizona, you could trade up to 8 to get Neighbors. So getting a first round pick next year and Neighbors, I think would be much better than getting Harrison. Obviously, we'll see what happens in 5 years. Like, Neighbors could suck and Harrison could be great. And that would sound stupid. I was just talking about like how they project. Right. I think that getting Neighbors and a first round pick for next year is better than Harrison, as great as Harrison is.
If that's possible, then yeah, maybe that's. I'm also always hesitant to believe some of the stuff that gets leaked, but I'm not questioning Charlie. I'm questioning the veracity of league insiders, front office types that like to lie.
Yeah, but I mean, Charlie has an impeccable track record of being correct. Like, we keep track of this on the site, and like he gets almost everything correct. It's pretty remarkable. It's like Charlie got a one thing wrong this year from a source, and I was like astonished. It was like the first time in like 3 years. It's like Charlie's gotten it was led astray by one of his sources. So it's pretty insane. So, Quacky says, for the love of everything that is sacred, draft Michael Penix. We're talking about Penix as rookie of the year at 75 to 1 on Saturday. We can get to that later. And then Chris says, I hated every B plus I got. In one case, it was literally the difference of one question on the final exam between that and a B plus and an A minus. Yeah, if you look at it that way, but you could have gotten a B. B plus is good. Like, right, A is great, B is good, C is average, right? And B is good, so B plus is better than good. So I always took a B plus. My GPA was 3.2. I lived on B pluses. So how dare you besmirch the B plus, Kenny? Very upset. Yeah. All right. So where do you think Marvin Harrison Jr. is drafted? Obviously, it's early, so these ADP numbers may be off, but I think they look good. Like, I'm looking at Fantasy Pros, and I think that like everyone else looks like accurate. So, and they have the rookies kind of like where I think they would go. Where do you think Harrison Jr. is going?
My guess is, I think he legitimately, from like in his rookie year, I think he's a top 15, top 20 wide receiver. I think he's probably drafted in that range. That's my guesstimate. So that makes him, if he's a top 20 receiver, if he's drafted somewhere between 15 and 20, that would make him, is that 4th round maybe? Is that the range? Am I
The
doing is
15th
my math right there?
I'll tell you right now, the 15th receiver is being drafted in the middle of the 3rd round, and the 20th receiver is being drafted at the beginning of the 4th round.
So yeah, I think that's where I would guesstimate he's going to go. That he's going to be a 4th round ish pick.
Okay. He is the receiver 12 being drafted. His ADP right now is 212.
Ooh, that feels rich. That feels a little much.
It does. That's a little too early.
No, that's unfortunate because I thought I was high on him. I guess not.
Everyone loves this guy. I mean, he's gonna be a stud for sure, but that's a little too early. Real quick, Germ with the 444 super chat. Thank you so much.
Let's go, Germ.
Super chats are an A+. That's true. Yeah,
that's right.
B+ are good, but yeah, these are great. So again, this is quadruple or more than quadruple than what we would get normally. So thank you so much, Germ. So okay, what are you saying?
I don't. Oh, sometimes you hear a player, you see a player, you're really high on them, or you think you're high on them. You're like, wow, and then you see the market, and you're like, oh, I thought I was going to be high on him, but I guess I misunderstood the market. Yeah. I thought that I was going to think to myself, oh man, this guy's going to be worth a late 3rd, and everyone else is going to think he's a 4th rounder, so I'm going to have to jump on him if I want him. But it looks like I'm actually going to be lower on him. Maybe we'll see what happens in the summertime.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we'll see. I mean, a lot can change, but he is getting a ton of hype, and understandably so. I don't think I'd get any of him at 212, but
yeah, I don't think so either.
Yeah. Chris says, many moons later, we learned that none of these grades actually mattered. Well, don't tell that to the guy working at the college, but Germ keeps the streak alive. Yeah, for sure. Thank you so much, Germ. Really appreciate it. All right. The next guy we're going to be talking about is Malik Neighbors. He is, what do you say about the Giants? You lose your soul if you draft a Giant player or something.
Yeah, it hurts my soul gets impaired is a handicapped impacted. Yeah, hurts my soul for sure.
Okay, well, we'll see about Malik Neighbors. If he's available at a good bargain, maybe you'll hurt your soul drafting him. He is super talented. Some people around the league told Charlie that they had him ranked ahead of Marvin Harrison Jr. So I wasn't surprised that he was the receiver too, but he is a stud. And I think that he's kind of like, if you compare Marvin Harrison Jr. to CeeDee Lamb, he's more of like Jamar Chase. Like, I think this guy's going to be an amazing player. Now, he's playing for the Giants, Daniel Jones, but Daniel Jones has never had a number 1 receiver. Odell Beckham was traded before Jones started. And so Jones's top receiver over the years is I think Kadarius Toney for that 3-game stretch where he was good and then he got hurt, right? Like outside, he had he's had Darius Slayton, Isaiah Hodgins, who else? He had what's his face? So Kenny Galladay, right? Who was right. They signed Kenny Galladay, but he was terrible.
What a bummer. What a terrible.
Yeah, so like he's never had a great receiver. So I think Daniel Jones could have his best year yet. Now he's coming off injury, so maybe that's not the case. But I despite the quarterback issues, I love Neighbors. If he's available for a good bargain, I'm definitely going to draft him. So where do you stand on him?
I am going to be nervous about this. I think I'm going to be lower on him than the market. This is my guesstimate. Okay. I don't think I'm going to have him in my top 40. I kind of did a rough estimate, very rough initial ranking. Again, I'll have to do some significant thinking through this over the next couple of weeks, but I actually have him as my 41st receiver right now.
Oh wow.
Overall, so now that could change if based on what we hear out of the Giants. What's going on with the Giants, but I just I'm not confident in that team. I'm not confident in the quarterback. And generally, if you look over the last 10 to 15 years, rookie wide receivers have actually not usually panned out. There's only been a handful that have been great from day one. And so is he the kind of talent that's, I know you said some people think he's better than Harrison. I have a hard time buying that. Probably I'm wrong, but I just don't think Neighbors is the kind of guy I want to go out of my way for. So my guess is that he's probably going to end up being I'm guessing between the 30th and 35th receiver off the board, but I'm going to be lower on him. So my guess is he's probably 8th round, 9th round, and I'm not going to be interested at that point.
Okay, well, you said 8th round, 9th round. He is going earlier than that. His ADP is 501.
Wow.
He's the 25th receiver off the board.
25th.
Yeah.
That is very surprising to me. I'm
right ahead of Amari Cooper, right behind Keenan Allen.
I would Cooper maybe is a question mark. I would take Keenan Allen ahead of him. I have Keenan Allen right now as my 32nd wide receiver currently.
I have you have Neighbors as what, your 41st, you said?
41, yeah.
41. He's my 34th. But I have Keenan Allen as my 28th. So yeah, I mean, I like he's my receiver 34. Receiver 25 is way too early. So I'm not surprised to see these first round rookies being hyped up. I think there's always more value with the second year guys because people tend to forget about them. Whereas like these guys are like everyone wants to draft them because they know the name. They just saw them play in college. And they were great in college because they went early in the draft. So yeah, I understand it. But we're going to pivot to a quarterback now. Caleb Williams, the number 1 overall pick. So I don't know why they keep adding S's to the end here. My editor was working on this page and apparently he did not do a good job here. But Caleb Williams, he is obviously the best quarterback in this class. He's on a loaded roster, like DJ Moore, Keenan Allen, Roma Dunze, Cole Kmet, and the offensive line's good. Plus they have DeAndre Swift in the backfield. So like this offense is going to be good. He's not like an amazing scrambler. Like he can definitely move around, but he's not going to be Jaden Daniels. So we'll talk about him in a second. But I mean, I like Caleb Williams, but I assume he's going to go way early as well, just because he's the number 1 overall pick and everyone knows about him.
Yeah, I think he's going to go way. Generally, I think quarterbacks always way too early. To me, like I got Caleb Williams ranked pretty low. I've got Caleb Williams. I have him at as the number 15th quarterback, and then I've got he's the highest rated rookie quarterback for me at number 15. And so in my mind, that means like I don't think he should be drafted. Like the 15th best quarterback off the board, like maybe is like a last round pick or second to the way I draft at least. Maybe other people draft 2 quarterbacks early, but the way I draft, I don't want to draft my first quarterback until round, somewhere between round 9 and 10, ideally. That's a typical 12-team draft. So, maybe if there's an elite guy that drops to round 6 or 7, but so to me, Caleb Williams should be like around 14 to 16 pick. But my guesstimate is he will probably go earlier. People will like him. He'll probably my guess is he'll be a top 10 quarterback, which means he'll be probably drafted around, I'm going to guess round 9.
You are right on the money. His ADP is 908.
Oh, look at that.
Yeah, it's a great guess. I think we'll see him go right at round 8, 9. If he plays great in the preseason, and who even knows if he's going to play in the preseason, but if he does, I think he could creep up to like round 7 even.
I just think there's a lot of guys in that range, that I just would rather have I'd rather have Anthony Richardson. I'd rather have Kyler Murray still. I think I'd still want Brock Purdy to Jared Goff, Aaron Rodgers might be in that range. I don't know where Justin Herbert's going to go, but like there's a lot of guys that I anticipate are going to be drafted later than that I would rather have.
Yeah, some of them I agree with. Kyler Murray, no, just because he's always hurt. I just can't draft him. But like everyone else you mentioned, I agree. And so we have a couple questions here. Or Chris say some of these quarterbacks are probably going to go higher than they should because Stroud was so great last year. Yeah, that's definitely going to be a factor too. And then he also asked who would win an arm wrestling match between you two. I don't know. I haven't worked out in like years, so I think Kenny will win.
The only lifting I've done is lifting this almond milk into my mouth.
Nice. Well, okay, so maybe I'd win. I don't know. I used to be super athletic. I was the captain of the swim team back in our high school days when Kenny and I met. So maybe back in the day I could have, but like again, I haven't lifted weights in so long, so it's been a while.
By the way, Walter was more than just a captain. What you were like borderline, almost like Olympic tryout type guy. Like, so I know you're being bashful, humble.
Well, everything ended when I tore something in my chest in college, and that was it. So maybe a draw then. Quacky, please weigh in here. Yeah, actually, Chris is asking us about a hot dog eating contest, and like between.
That's where I would win that for sure.
But so here's the thing, like we've had everyone's been saying, we've had the question is like of everyone who's been a guest on the show, or not a guest, a co-host on the show, who would win in a hot dog eating contest. And I argue I would be in last place. Actually, Charlie would be in last place because he's vegetarian. But I would be in second to last place because I'm the slowest eater on the planet. Like I can eat a lot. It just takes me hours to do it. Like I'm not joking here. My son had these fruit snacks today. You know, like the fruit snacks you get in those pouches. They're like 10 of them in a pouch or something. I put one in my mouth and he was done 9 before I was finished my one. So that's kind of like that shows you how slow of an eater I am. But like everyone was saying they would eat it. Like they would win the hot dog eating contest. Like Ben Wassey said he would win. I think Tom said he would win. Not sure if Tom did, but and then who else? Alex Butters said he would win as well. So you're the fourth person.
I'm pretty confident that I could clean up some hot dog eating contests.
Okay, all right, fair enough. All right, Jaden Daniels. So he's not like passing wise, he's not as great as Caleb Williams, but he's going to run a lot more. Like right. His rushing numbers are going to be through the roof, and I think for that reason he might be the top fantasy rookie. But I think it'll be close between the two. I rated Caleb Williams ahead of him. But that could be wrong. I wasn't quite sure like how to handle that, but I do love Jaden Daniels. I'm going to try to get his Rainmaker cards. I felt the same way about Anthony Richardson last year, and then Richardson got hurt a lot. So there's that as well. Like any quarterback who runs a lot has injury risk, but I think Daniels is going to be, if he's available in the double-digit rounds, then I'm more than happy to take a flyer on him as my starting quarterback. So what do you think about him?
I've got him ranked right after Caleb Williams. So I've got Williams at 15 and Daniels at 16. But I think the point you make is a really good one. Daniels might very well be the better bet, because of the running and the situation he might be in. Caleb Williams, he's the better player, so I'd rather still have him. But I think there's an argument to be made that from a fantasy perspective, particularly as a rookie, we saw that with Justin Fields, we saw that with Jalen Hurts. We've seen that with recent quarterbacks that might be comparable to Daniels in some ways, not totally comparable, but in some ways. So I think that's a really good point. Again, Daniels, I would imagine, is probably going to be drafted in his ADP. My guess is probably around 11 or 12, and I think I don't think he should be drafted, or at the very best, maybe the last round of your pick. But I think he'll be drafted. My guess is around somewhere between 10 and 12.
So his ADP is 1005. I disagree that he shouldn't be drafted, though. Like, I think someone like him has a ton of potential. And I drafted Anthony Richardson last year. And, like, yeah, that didn't work out because he got hurt. But, like, when he was playing, like, his fantasy numbers are through the roof. And he was not as polished as Jaden Daniels is as a passer. I love Jaden Daniels. I think that I'm not someone who drafts quarterbacks early, like, ever. And so if Daniels is there in the 10th round and I could draft him as a starting quarterback, I think I would do it.
Yeah. I mean, I guess I still wouldn't do it. To me, I'd rather just stream the position at that point. That's kind of my general. Anthony Richardson, in my mind, coming out last year had there was the talk around him was different in terms of the raw talent that this guy could bring to the table. And so I think that was, to me, that's more, I still wouldn't have done it, but to me that felt more what's what I'm looking for, more credible or more defendable. Mm-hmm. Defensible. Anyway, Yeah, I'm a professor. I was a college professor. Anyway, that's more defensible to me because of the raw. I don't know that Daniels has quite that, is my understanding at least.
Yeah. Um, I I think Richardson has more upside, but I think Daniels has a much higher floor though. And I think that like I said, he's more polished as a passer. Plus, I do like what the Redskins have done this offseason. You know, they signed two good offensive linemen and Tyler Biotish and Nick Allegretti, and they brought in Austin Eckler. I know you're not like a big Eckler fan as a runner, but like he's going to be a great safety valve in the backfield. And I just think that I like where the Redskins are going. I think they're a good win over that team. Although Jeremy with a good point here. Kingsbury calling garbage play should get Daniels some good rushing yards. Yeah, it's we saw what Kyler Murray did. It's like Kingsbury's the king of like, hey, it's 3rd and 4. Let's take a bomb downfield for no reason instead of taking like a 5-yard pass to get the first down. It's Kingsbury. I hate Cliff Kingsbury.
Not great.
No, not at all. All right, so we go to Brock Bowers here. I know tight ends, whatever, but we had some great rookie tight ends last year. Sam Laporta, Dalton Kincaid, those two guys are awesome. Brock Bowers is even more talented. And I know you could point to Kyle Pitts, but I think that the comparison to Kincaid or Laporta, I think is more appropriate. Bowers is a freak of nature. He's a mismatched weapon. Now, like again, like there are just so many good tight ends. It's really hard to justify a Brock Bowers pick, especially if he's early. But if he's available late, like along with like I usually draft my tight end in like round 12. If he's there, which he won't be, but I'm just saying hypothetically, if he is there, then he's certainly going to be on my radar. But I fear that he'll be drafted too early. I imagine you think the same, right?
Yeah, there's a 0% chance that this guy's going to be on my roster in any league I'm in at any time because he's going to get drafted way early. I think the success of Laporta in particular, I mean, Laporta will likely be, he'll be one of the top two. Him and Travis Kelce will be the top two tight ends drafted this year, right? I mean, I would imagine Laporta, I haven't seen the ADP, but I would imagine Laporta is going to be in the competition for the number one tight end. But if you look back to rookie tight ends drafted in the first round, dating back to the year 1997, have produced 1,000-yard season. One in 27 years. The first round tight ends have produced 1,000-yard receiving season. So, I think people are going to look at this and go, "Oh my gosh, Bowers is a better prospect than Laporta and Kincaid." And I think my guess is he's going to be drafted like in round 7, and I just think that's ridiculous. In my mind, let me see. I think I've got him. I think I've got him as my 12th tight end, which means he should be drafted in that would be probably round 12 or 13, maybe later.
His ADP is 802, so you're pretty close to the 7th round there. He is the tight end 9 off the board.
Yeah, that's really high. I don't know. To me, that's really high.
Yeah, I get it. But this guy's a special talent. So if he breaks the trend of 1,000-yard receiving tight ends, then it wouldn't surprise me at all. But he does have a lot to contend with. In the Raiders, he has Jacoby Myers and Devontae Adams. But then again, I feel like Gardner Minshew, all he really does is like throw to the middle of the field with the tight end. So maybe that'll help him out.
It just like rookie tight ends just don't produce what we usually think they do. It's just not normal. It's very unusual, and it doesn't mean Brock Bowers may end up being the best tight end ever in NFL history. I mean, he's this phenomenal talent, phenomenal prospect. That's great, but I just the idea of taking a rookie tight end just feels like fool's gold to me.
Yeah, I definitely get that. Rome Odunze, the 9th overall pick in the draft. Super talented player, but disappointed to where he went. Just because Chicago has DJ Moore and Keenan Allen and Cole Kmet, it's like he's going to be the 4th read until Keenan Allen gets hurt, which will happen. But in the meantime, like he's going to be just lost in the shuffle. So feel like it's hard to justify a draft pick on him unless he falls like super late or something like that, and you can pick him up knowing that Allen's going to be hurt at some point. But I assume he's going to go earlier in that. So I have no interest in him, given that he's probably going to go in the first 10 rounds. So what do you think about him?
Yeah, I have him as my 50th wide receiver right now, which would make him probably worth a realistically. Yeah, I mean a very late round pick, right? The last few rounds when you're just throwing out darts, round 14 to 16, something like that.
Yeah. Where do you think he's going?
I mean, I think he's probably not a super high. He's probably higher than what I would want. There's my guesstimate is probably round 12. I think people are gonna do what you just did. They're gonna say, there's other guys there. He's probably not gonna get a lot of action. So my guess is probably around 12.
So I probably would have guessed the same. I'm shocked by this. His ADP is 707. He's the 36th receiver off the board, right behind Terry McLaurin at receiver 35 and Marquise Brown, who's receiver 37. That's way too early for him.
That's very surprising to me. Yeah. I would imagine that's going to come down.
Yeah, that's
my guess.
I would assume so, but he is the 9th pick in the draft. So I get the hype, but that is shockingly early.
Let me remind everyone, John Ross was the 9th pick of the draft once upon a time.
It's true. Yeah. Yep. All right. So we go to Xavier Worthy, who's in a much better position than Odunze. Now he's a pick later in the first round, but he's playing with Patrick Mahomes. He's going to be the deep threat. He obviously ran the 4.21 at the combine. And he's going to be replacing Marquez Valdes-Scantling. I assume he's going to be better. You have Rashee Rice, who can't seem to stay out of trouble. Like he had that incident with the driving, and then he was apparently he punched someone, or allegedly punched someone at a nightclub. So I don't know what's going on with him. Feels like he's going to be suspended at some point. So I think Worthy's he's looking good. I feel like if Rice is suspended at any point, like his ADP is going to skyrocket. And you got to like any receiver with Mahomes, although that really didn't apply with like Valdes-Scantling and stuff. But Worthy is very talented. So what do you think about Worthy?
Yeah, I like him. I think Worthy is going to be worthy of some attention. Oh, it was too easy. Nice. Too easy. I mean, this guy, everything I've read about him, I don't watch a lot of college football, obviously, like you do. Everything I read about him, that he's a super fast guy that's going to fit their offense perfectly. Who knows what's going to happen with the Rashee Rice? I actually am less confident that it's going to be an issue. A lot of these situations tend to sometimes work themselves out, and not like no one died, no one got injured. Like I bet he gets arrested, maybe he gets suspended for 6 games, and then he's back. Like that's my guess.
That's what I would guess too. 6 games.
But I've heard people talking about he's never going to play again. He's going to be out for the year, and I'm just like 4 to 6 is going to be the range. Is my guess. And so maybe it's 6 and he appeals and they lower it or whatever, something like that. Anyway, I think a lot of people are going to think they're going to say, "Hey, Worthy, I like this. I like him. I like the fit, but I am concerned he's going to be overdrafted." So to me, I've got him as my 39th receiver right now on my list overall, which would mean he's probably worthy of somewhere between an 11th and 13th pick. Is my guess.
Okay. Yeah, so this is like one of the few rookies that are going in the appropriate range. His ADP is 1201 at the moment.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Yeah, it's a good spot for him. It's a late round flyer with a ton of upside. Yeah, I think Rice will be suspended for 6 and he'll appeal down to 4. I think that's what's going to happen. I think you're right about that. But yeah, that'll help. The 4 games, 4 to 6 games he doesn't have with Rice. Should do well. Now, granted, like he ran a 4.21. That doesn't mean he's gonna be great. Like you just pointed out, John Ross. More important than the 9th pick, he had that great 40 time, and he just didn't amount to anything. So, but Worthy will be playing with Mahomes though. So
that's right. So it's anyone with Mahomes is worth a look because it's Mahomes. I also think we've seen a track record over if you look back over the last maybe 10 years or so with receivers, early with rookie receivers. getting off to a fast start so often dictates how their season goes. And so receivers who kind of like who have an injury in training camp or don't have opportunity early end up just pretty much having a rookie season that's kind of useless, even if they bounce back and have a great year 2 or year 3. We've seen that over and over again. But rookie receivers that kind of come out gangbusters, they end up keeping that consistent. It's pretty rare that a rookie receiver has like a great first couple weeks and then just like falls off. They usually consistently keep it up. And so, which is, I think, I mean, like that means if Rice is out for the first, 6 weeks, that's going to give Worthy a lot of opportunity. I can't imagine if he's great for the first few weeks and then just going to phase him out down the stretch. No, like if he's great for the first few weeks, then he's going to have an ample opportunity and still get chunks of the offense even after Rice comes back. So yeah. I think he's got a lot of upside. Actually, as a 12th round, my guess is that'll probably go up slightly throughout the year, especially whenever a suspension is, if they announce an 8-game suspension for Rice, I can imagine Worthy getting at least a 1 round, if not a 2 round or maybe more bounce in the ADP.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of hype with him if that happens. John saying just joined, but people are sleeping on Jaden Daniels and Malik Neighbors. Stay the hell away from Caleb Williams and Brock Bowers. Yeah, I mean, we just talked about these guys and like their ADP is earlier than you would think. But I do love Jaden Daniels. So I want to target him as one of the quarterbacks in the double-digit rounds. Chris saying, fun fact, I tried to draft Caleb Williams in the 16th round in my 2-keeper league last year. The commission gave me Kyron instead, who I probably dropped. But he got him with a Puka Nacua, so it worked out. And he's asking, anyway, an important question. Since feats of strength are no longer your thing, who would win a thumb wrestling match? Not me. My fingers are like shot from all the typing I've done over the years. I don't know. I feel like I have carpal tunnel, so I don't do well. I can't win easily. John saying second-year receivers are where the value is. Zay Flowers, Jordan Addison, Marvin Mims, and JSN. So this is something I said as well. I think the second-year players have more value. I like Marvin Mims, and I'm not just saying that because I pulled all the Rainmaker cards of him that I opened.
Right. Yeah, you did.
But like Sean Payton even said that he didn't play last year because Jerry Jeudy was blocking him because they played the same receiver position. Now Jerry Judy's gone. Marvin Mims had a great week too. He did show potential as a deep threat. So I think there is potential with him. Problem is the quarterback position. If Bo Nix is functional, then I think Mims could have a really good year. But if not, then whatever. Marvin Mims is someone I'd like in the late rounds just to take a shot on. So I agree with what you're saying, John.
I think there's a value there. I mean, just on talent and style, the guy in that list I like the most is Zay Flowers. I mean, I think Zay Flowers he's got all the skills he showed last year. He very easily could have had 3 or 4 more touchdowns, just kind of some like weird, unlucky plays here and there. I think I generally like the offense that he's in more than most of the other guys. Who knows what the Vikings are going to be with McCarthy. Mm-hmm. So hard to say. But I think Zay Flowers is a guy that I will probably end up owning a lot because I really like him as a potential value coming in the second year.
Yeah, a lot of the second year guys I like as well. So John's saying Worthy will be great unless there's a gust of wind that will knock him over. So I play him in the dome games, I guess. And what about Josh Downs? Yeah, I like him in PPR more than anything. He's like one of the slot guys who's going to catch a ton of passes, but not really going to break anything like long, for the most part. But it depends what sort of league you're in. PPR, I like him a lot, or DraftKings because that's PPR. But if it's a standard league, like not so much.
I don't think Josh Downs is a special player, so it's hard for me to be real confident unless their offense is going to be great. It's hard for me to be confident that he's going to have a lot of opportunity to score touchdowns. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe their offense is going to be great, but he's not a special talent to me.
I agree. He's not, but he's the guy who's going to catch 7 passes for 50 yards. And
I'm pretty sure I could take him in a hot dog eating contest.
Probably could. As I think I could as well, despite my slow eating. But if you get 7 for 50 from him, it's 12 points in PPR, and you'll take that every time, I think. Yeah. All right. So Keon Coleman, like the opposite of Xavier Worthy. Not a great 40 time, but really talented receiver. He's going to Buffalo. He's going to have some great opportunities there because Stephon Diggs and Gabe Davis are gone. So the upside there is the upside certainly there in that offense. But the question is, like, will he produce right away? He was technically a second round pick. He was the first pick in the second round. So where do you stand on Keon Coleman?
He's my 65th receiver. So that means pretty much like he's worth like a 13th or 14th round pick, maybe. Sorry, he's not draftable, but if you want to take a flyer in the 13th or 14th round, go for it. I probably would not be drafting him. I don't know enough about him, but the Bills' offense looked totally dysfunctional to me. It was pretty much all the Josh Allen show, and until I see something different, it's hard for me to really have any confidence in that. So maybe I'm wrong. And my guess is that Coleman is probably not a high draft pick out there. I would imagine he's he's late round pick, 14th, 15th round.
1309 is ADP. So I mean, I think there's some upside with him, but it's tough to tell what's going to happen with the Bills receivers. It's a lot of question marks there, but it could really pay off. I think I would take some shots on him. If like I've been in a number of leagues, like I'll try to get him in like one or two of my leagues, and like maybe he turns out well, and he becomes a great weapon for Josh Allen. But if not, then it's a late round pick, and I took a shot. So anyway, we move on to Ladd McConkey, who's taking Keenan Allen's place in that offense. He was drafted in the second round. I'd like him more in PPR than regular. So I don't know if I draft him in regular. But what do you think about McConkey?
I think he's actually a little bit of a better possibility than Coleman. So I have McConkey at 62. So just a little bit, maybe again, my guess is he's probably a last round pick type deal, 16th, 15th round. I can't imagine he's being drafted much higher than that. If he is, that sounds a mistake. And I think he's worth it. I think I'd be willing, as my if I already got if I'm just looking for like a kind of dart throw, I think you could do worse than McConkey.
His ADP is 1205. So
well, never mind. I'm not going to be drafting him. Let's move on to the next one. No, I think that's ridiculous. I'm not taking him I'm not taking him in the 12th round. I think there will be better values in the 12th round than that.
Yeah, I agree. There is upside with the Justin Herbert, but like I said, I'd rather take him in a PPR league. His standard 12th round is way too high. PPR 12th round, I think, is okay, but there could be better picks, but I don't think it's the worst.
12th round is when I pretty much start thinking about drafting my first quarterback or my first tight end, because I don't usually have either by that point.
Yeah. Same here. Usually we're racing to see who the last person is to draft a quarterback or tight end. It's usually one of us. The problem is like people in our league draft their like third quarterback, but by the time we draft our first, which is so annoying. We know who we're talking about, or who I'm talking about. Quentin Johnson or Ladd McConkey. How about Joshua Palmer? I like Joshua Palmer more than both. But I would like to have one of them in my, like one of McConkey, Johnston, or Palmer on my team. I think like one of them is going to have a great year. I think it's going to be Palmer, but it could. Who knows? Johnston is another one of these second-year receivers. He looked horrible last year, but we've seen players have bad rookie years and emerge in their second year. It's happened before. So if he's going late enough, I'm going to look up his ADP in a second. But like, what do you think about Johnston or McConkey?
I've got Johnston at my 60th receiver, so just slightly ahead of McConkey, but not much. So yeah, I think Johnson is going to end up being drafted later, is my guess. I think people will sour on him, and so I think that's going to be better value. My guess is his ADP is at least a round or two later than McConkey. It's my guess.
You said 60th for Quentin Johnston?
Yeah.
He's being drafted as the 61st, so you're right there. What about Palmer? What do you think about him?
We didn't seem like a special talent to me. I think I had him in a couple leagues last year. I don't think he's a special talent. I think Johnson's got more raw talent, and I think Palmer is a better value. I think Johnson's a better value. I think Palmer is a better value. I think Johnson's a better value. I think Palmer is a better value. I think Johnson's a better value. I think Palmer is a better value. I think Johnson's a better value. I think Palmer is a better value. I think Johnson's a better value. I think Palmer is a better value. I think Johnson's a better value. I think Palmer is a better value. I think Johnson's a better value. I think Palmer is a better value. I think Johnson's 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 a better value. I think Johnson with the current with Harbaugh coaching, I'll take my chance on the better talent.
Okay, it's someone we're going to disagree on. I like Palmer quite a bit. He's being drafted though as 65th receiver, so I imagine I'm going to have him in a lot of my leagues. Where do I have Palmer? Let me see. Palmer is my 22nd receiver, so I'm pretty high on him.
Joshua Palmer is your 22nd receiver.
Yeah, I have him for 78 catches, 1,180 yards, and 8 touchdowns. Maybe I'm insane, but as Justin Herbert's number 1 receiver. Although some of these guys maybe is going to be a little bit lower because I'm looking at some of these guys I'd rather have them instead. He's probably going to be like my late 20s, early 30s. Now that I look at this,
wow, yeah, he's. I have him as 61.
Yeah, well, we've had some disagreements in the past, so I don't think he's a special talent either, but like he's the number 1 receiver on a team with Justin Herbert. That's enough for me to
famous last words. Who else is there? Famous last words in fantasy football.
Yeah, but Palmer has done well in the past. He's had some good games.
Yeah, I mean, hey, you can have him, bro. I mean, you could win a championship with him. I don't know. You might be right. I don't see it, but I could be wrong.
Well, we'll see. We'll have to revisit that in the future. Chris asking, is McConkey perhaps a distant relative of Ark the Lad? Maybe. I haven't looked into it. We'll have to ask Charlie the next time he's on. He will know. And then Palmer had a better rookie year. Plus, Roman is the offensive coordinator, so expect a run first offense. Yeah, I think they're gonna. It's funny because like they're gonna try to run the ball like they want to run, but their running backs are terrible. So like, I feel like they're gonna realize that they're gonna have to throw. So I don't get what the Chargers are doing. Like I'd more faith in them when Harbaugh was hired, but like getting rid of your top 2 receivers, and I don't know.
Yeah, it's 2024. Every team passes.
Yeah,
more than everything.
This would be a great statement if this were 2004. But it's yeah, it's I don't like. I think this plan to have a run first team that the Chargers apparently want to do. I just don't think it's going to work. Like, I just don't think they have the running talent. Like, if they had a great running back and a great offensive line, sure, but they don't have a great offensive line, and their lead back is either Gus Edwards or J.K. Dobbins, who can't stay healthy. So, like, I don't know. I feel like they're going to have to throw a lot.
But if J.K. Dobbins can stay healthy, though, I tell you, man, he is a great player. And it's unfortunate the injuries. He might not be the same player anymore with the injuries.
I think he's a great sleeper this year because he's 2 years removed now from his torn ACL. Last year, he tore his Achilles. But like that always happens. Like whoever comes back early from a torn ACL, like they always tear their Achilles. And like I feel like he can rebound next year. But then again, he could get hurt again. So just like don't draft him early. I don't know what his ADP is. I can actually just tell you right now.
Can't imagine it's high.
What do you think it is? I just looked it up.
My guess is he's got to be, I don't know, maybe 13th round,
14th round, 1402.
Yeah.
I love him in the late rounds. I think that there's
I think there's some value there.
Yeah. So asking Chargers figure to be behind most games. The defense is okay. I mean, they have the 2 great edge rushers, but I don't know what else they have.
I don't think we're nearly as good at predicting that kind of stuff as we think we are.
Well, I don't know. I mean, I tend to do well with my win total over unders, but
and even if you're behind a lot, that doesn't necessarily translate to good fantasy numbers. You know, people say, well, you're going to be throwing a lot. Not necessarily. There's a reason why most fantasy quarterbacks that end up being great are usually on winning teams that are often ahead. There's a reason. There are exceptions. 2014 Blake Bortles.
That was the Greg Olsen special.
I mean, that was a remarkable thing where he would throw them into trouble. They'd be behind by 3 touchdowns because he was so terrible, and then he would just like get them back in the game, and they'd barely lose, and he would throw 350 to 400 yards and 2 or 3 touchdowns in a losing effort. I mean, I think he was the third or fourth best fantasy QB that year. And I think at one point in the year, he was the number one fantasy QB, kind of
Yep.
2/3 through. I mean, it was a pretty remarkable, pretty impressive to be that bad in real football and that good in fantasy. But I think that's a pretty rare thing.
Yeah. Again, that was a Greg Olsen special. Greg Olsen, who took Josh Freeman to a Pro Bowl and had Mark Bulger in his best years and Sam Bradford in his best years, but could not quite get anything out of Blaine Gabbert, which no one could. Chris asking, please ask Kenny his thoughts on the Broncos under 5.5 wins at plus 120. This is something we love. What do you think?
I don't have any thoughts. Do I think they'll win?
Wait. Kenny can't even talk about gambling, so maybe this is something we shouldn't ask him.
Do I think the Broncos will win? I'm not gambling. I'm not talking about gambling. I'm just talking about, do I think the Broncos will win 5.5 games? I think the Broncos will not win. I mean, I don't know much about Bo Nix, but from everything I read, no one seems to be confident in him, right?
Yeah. Well, it's not just him. I think the roster sucks. Like, their defense a couple years ago was great, but they've lost so much defensive talent. And they lost their center this offseason. They lost Jerry Jeudy. Javonte Williams is not too far removed from a torn ACL. Like, this team just looks horrible, I think, on paper. Anyway, let's move on to Jalen Polk. I don't think we have to spend too much time on him, but like I ranked him 10th because he could be the number one receiver in New England. That may not matter too much, but they have Drake May. We might as well just loop in Drake May too. He's right here as well. So I just don't really know how Drake May is going to do his rookie year. Like, he has a much lower floor than Jaden Daniels, but he has a high ceiling. I've heard some people compare it to Josh Allen coming out of school, where it's like Josh Allen, his rookie year was kind of a mess. That he had some flashes, but like, he made a lot of mistakes as well. And I think you're going to see the same thing out of May, but his passing potential could mean that Polk has some good games. But I don't know. These two guys are not really looking to draft. What do you think about them?
Yeah, I have Drake May currently as my 28th best quarterback going into the season, which means he's totally undraftable for me. There is no scenario under which I'm going to draft 28th best quarterback. So yeah, I don't know what his ADP would be. My guess is his ADP has got to be, I can't imagine he's, in the top 25 quarterbacks off the board, which means he's a 15th, 16th round pick if he's drafted at all. Polk I have as my 84th receiver, again, undraftable. And I would imagine most people, you seem to be even, you have a little bit of optimism with him, with the potential of him being the number one receiver there. I would imagine most people have very little confidence or optimism when it comes to Polk, my guess.
Well, you're right about that. Polk's not being drafted right now. His ADP is like 211 overall, like number 211. So that's like that would be 18th round if there was an 18th round. Drake May, though, is being drafted. His ADP is 1408. So some people see the potential there. I get it. I don't agree with it, but I understand.
Yeah, I like, okay, yeah, that's fine. That's not how I draft. If you're someone who drafts quarterbacks between rounds 4 and 7, and then you want to get a second one, I guess that's fine. But I'm not picking them.
John saying I wouldn't draft him in Dynasty. Chris with the question: would you consider Drake May in a 3 QB league?
I guess I have to at that point, but not interested. Side note: when it comes to dynasty drafts, here's what I do in dynasty drafts. I actually just draft for this year because I find that people grossly overrate rookies and underrate older veterans. A guy like Keenan Allen is going to get drafted super late in dynasty drafts because he's old. Like, the championships in 2024 count just as much as championships in 2029.
Yeah,
so
that's true. Yeah, I can see that.
I pretty much just approach dynasty leagues as a redraft in most cases.
Yeah, and you could always find like good values for like mid to late round rookies.
I remember in a dynasty league I was in, I drafted Larry Fitzgerald like 3 years in a row, and he was still like great, and it was so helpful. I remember drafting like Roddy White, like the last 3 years of his career, because like people just let these guys drop. They're just like, these guys are still going to produce. You still have to win this year, right? Anyway.
Yeah, it's true. All right, next receiver off the board is Brian Thomas. ton of potential with this guy, but he's super raw. So not sure what we're going to expect this year. But he's playing with Trevor Lawrence, so there is some upside. Calvin Ridley's gone, so like he is going to get some interest. So what do you think about him?
I don't know a lot about him, but I've ended up I have a sneaky suspicion. Everything I read about him based on his skill set, feeling like they fit in the offense. And maybe I'm wrong. I'm expecting Trevor Lawrence to take a little bit of a step forward this year. And like finally we've seen great moments from him. But I think this is like where we finally see it. And so I'm interested in Brian Thomas as a top 50 receiver. I currently have him tentatively at 47, but that could be I'll probably move a little bit. So I don't know what his ADP is. My guess is ADP is I think most people are probably going to do what you just did. Say, hey, he's super raw. That's kind of the talk about him. So my guess is he's being drafted. I think I'm going to like him in around like 11 or 12, maybe. I'm willing to take a shot there. But I would imagine most people will think he's maybe more like a 13th or 14th round pick. Tell me I'm wrong.
You're wrong. His ADP is 9-10. Round 9, pick 10. So
okay. So I'm not unique in my thinking here.
Yeah, I mean he played on a well-known offense. I think people are expecting him to be great right away, which I think is a mistake. I do agree with you though. I think Trevor Lawrence could have a great year. And I last night Jacob and I talked about our Super Bowl futures, some of our favorite picks, and we both liked the Jaguars at 45-1 as like a team you could hedge in the playoffs. So I agree with you about Lawrence. I just don't know if Thomas is going to shine right away. I think he's more of a guy who could have a great second year. But yeah, round 9 is too early, unfortunately. I think like he's another guy if he's there in round 12, I would certainly take a shot.
Yeah, I like him a little more than those other rookie receivers that'll be drafted around the same spot.
Yeah, John saying he'll beat out Gabe Davis in training camp. I'm high on Brian Thomas Jr. Yeah, I think so too. I'm not high on Gabe Davis.
Gabe Davis sucks.
Yeah, he does. All right, Xavier Legette. He was the he became famous, at least on this show, because I pointed out that he said that he visited the Panthers 4 times in the pre-draft process, which is like unheard of. Like these players take top 30 visits with these teams, and like it's a big deal if a player visits the team once. And he visited the Panthers 4 times somehow. So
I don't even believe that. That doesn't seem realistic.
That's what he said. I don't know. That's what he said. I
kind of smoking weed. I mean, was he smoking?
I joke with Charlie. Did one of his visits include him driving by the stadium with there's the 80s movies, like someone holds up a boombox and he's like, please draft me, and he's like playing a song. Like, does that count as one of the visits? So I have no interest in anyone on the Panthers. Really, no. I mean, I really no one on the Panthers I wouldn't draft. I can't think of a single person. So Legette, despite his talent, no interest here. Do you agree?
Yeah, he's my 75th receiver overall. Pretty much once you get beyond the 60 range, I'm just kind of randomly ranking guys. So really anything from 60 to 90 is just whatever. It's one big bucket to me. I'm not really putting that much effort in trying to rank them well. So he's 75. He very well could have been 65 or 85, to be honest. And I want no part of drafting him, or as you said, anyone on the Panthers. And my guess is he might be drafted. I think people are going to see, hey, Bryce Young might take a step forward and maybe he's the number 1 receiver. I think you might get a little bit of 14th, 15th round type action.
Yeah, you're right. He's his ADP is 1504. So some late round action. I just don't see the upside with the Panthers. I don't know. Anyway, our next receiver is Ricky Pearsall. Hard to project him now because we don't know what's going to happen with Ayuk or Samuel. There's rumors that one of them is going to be traded. If that's the case, then suddenly he's going to look great. If not, then you're going to hope for one of those guys to get hurt because otherwise I'd have no interest. What do you think about him?
Yeah, he's pretty much that bucket I just said that kind of disaster or whatever, 60 to 90 is all the same kind of whatever, a bunch of names. He's kind of right before that. So he's kind of 59th receiver for me on my list overall, because I think he's the kind of guy, or he fits their offense. Everything I've read, Don't know a lot about these guys. I don't watch a lot of college football. But as I'm reading, everything seems to be this guy fits exactly what the Niners want to do. The Niners have shown that they're willing to get rookies involved sooner rather than later. They're not, they're not a team that's going to let the guy sit. So I think he's going to have opportunities. They're going to find ways to get him in, and so I think that makes him some value. And then I think even if I don't know what's going to happen if you get to training camp and if Ayuk and Deebo Samuel are still on the team. I'd be shocked to think that one of them would be traded during the season. So if they're both on the roster in training camp, I don't think that he's the kind of guy that Ricky is the kind of guy you would say like, okay, let's draft him because one of the other guys might get traded. I don't think he's got that kind of upside, but I think he has upside in just terms of being in a good offense. And we've also seen both Samuel and Ayuk get injured, particularly Samuel. His style of play, he invites contact in a way that it's not smart. So it wouldn't surprise me that Ricky Pearsall gets some real playing time at some point in the year. I think I like him in the, kind of round 12 range. My guess is he's probably being drafted slightly before that. I think you could get him in the round 12.
Well, it sounds like you're going to be getting him. His ADP is 1508.
Okay. I'm surprised. I thought it would have been in the 12, 11 to 13 range.
So we have some good comparisons here. Leggett reminds me of Treylon Burks. But then Chris is like, Leggett reminds me of Steve Urkel. He just shows up at your house to eventually draft him and let him sleep with your daughter. Yes. I love it. Great post, Chris. All right, Roman Wilson. The Steelers have a habit of just drafting these second-day receivers who always do well. You just go down the list. Deontay Johnson, Chase Claypool, what's his name? George Pickens. It seems like whenever they draft a receiver on day 2, they usually do well. And the Steelers have an opening on their offense. Pickens is the receiver 1 now, but they have no receiver 2. It could easily be Roman Wilson's job. I like him. Now you have to deal with Russell Wilson. That's like the downside, or Justin Fields. But like I'd have interest in him in the late rounds just because the Steelers drafts receivers so well. What do you think?
I was reading some stuff about this kid, and I'm now at the age, by the way, where I refer to draft picks as kids. And so I heard someone say, basically you just said, hey, the Steelers have had this, this propensity, but you should not expect that with Roman Wilson because he's not nearly the talent of those guys. And so that instantly made me think, never mind. I'm not interested. So I have him as my 79th receiver. Again, he's in the 60 to 90, whatever bucket. So for me, he's undraftable, and I would imagine he's not being drafted before round 15. But it sounds like you're much more optimistic on him.
Yeah, I'd take a shot on him in the late rounds. His ADP 1609, so just barely getting there. I don't know. We'll see. I mean, if the Steelers have a second day receiver bust, it's going to be the first time. So I don't know. I have faith in the Steelers front office, and like I said, he's going to have opportunities in that offense because there's a huge hole at receiver too. Chris asking, remember the last time the Steelers drafted a receiver from a school in the state of Michigan? CTESPN remembers. Central Michigan's finest, Antonio Brown. So Adonai Mitchell, who's on the Colts, they were disappointed with Alec Pierce, so he's going to take Pierce's place. He's really talented, and some people thought he was going to go in the first round, but he fell because of some off the field issues. And Charlie posted a report like the week of the draft saying like teams soured on him because he doesn't handle his type 1 diabetes well. So that is a concern if you are considering him, but the talent is certainly there, and he's going to have he has good quarterbacks at his disposal. If Richardson gets hurt, he has Flacco. What do you think about Mitchell?
Yeah, I've read the same type of stuff that his talent is way significantly higher than what his draft stock. He's still, I have him 71 overall, but I have a little bit of a asterisk that he could easily move. If we hear good things about him, I'll take him out of the whatever bucket and I'll move him into the 50s, maybe even 40s. If the Colts offense is going to be functional and Anthony Richardson is going to take a step forward, I would imagine Mitchell is going to be a very productive receiver. And I think we could easily look back a year from now and be like, wow, that guy was a big steal. Kind of like we look at, Puka Nacua. Like, I think he could be that kind of guy. And so I currently have him as 71st overall wide receiver, but I have an asterisk next to him, kind of like I could easily see him getting some significant upward mobility in my ranks coming, through the summer.
So where do you think he's being drafted?
I would guess most people probably are not thinking about it, that nuance. I would imagine he's probably being drafted in round 14.
You're close. It's 1301. So yeah, I definitely see the upside. Well, we'll see. I mean, I think that he's a fine pick in the 12th, 13th round.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah. If he starts moving up, and you start hearing good things and things look good, then maybe I would. I think I'd take him ahead of Brian Thomas. And I know I said I thought Brian Thomas was a value worthy of a 12th round pick. So I think I'd move Mitchell even above him.
Okay. Malachi Corley. Some people compared him to Deebo Samuel. And this is another guy who's going to have opportunities because the Jets don't have a number 2 receiver. They tried Alan Lazard last year. That was a disaster. Randall Cobb was given chances. Like, if Randall Cobb and Alan Lazard were getting significant snaps in the Jets offense, like, Corley will, and Corley is certainly more talented. So as long as Aaron Rodgers is healthy, which is like a big if, like if he is, then he has a chance to be a pretty significant player. So I like him, one of these like late round guys you can take a shot on. But I mean, he's not like the most polished receiver, but there's upside. So what do you think about him?
I've not heard great things, so it's hard for me to be super confident. He's my 78th overall wide receiver. Probably doesn't have a lot of upper mobility in my ranks, to be honest. I'm not super confident in Aaron Rodgers staying healthy, so that maybe is souring me on the entire Jets offense outside of Bryce Hall. I had a brain fart. I forgot the running back's name.
Yeah, so he's not being drafted. His ADP it would be in the 18th round if there was one. So if you're in a super deep league, maybe you consider him. But I think you can take a shot on him. But I do agree, like, it's tough to ask Aaron Rodgers to stay healthy. He's 41. He hasn't played in 2 years, or he hasn't played more than 4 snaps in 2 years. We'll see. I mean, then again, I always give this example. Do you remember Fred Taylor? His nickname was Fragile Fred, and he'd always get hurt. And then, like, at the end of his career, there was like a 3-year stretch where he never got hurt. So maybe Aaron Rodgers will stay healthy this year. Like, it could happen, maybe. Like, it's funny that the Jets signed all these injury-prone players. Like, they signed Tyron Smith and Mike Williams. And they did, like, Breece Hall for 2 years ago tore his ACL. So, like, you have that concern. It's like very slight concern still. It'd be funny if, like, all of them stay healthy this year, just randomly.
If they all stay healthy, the Jets are going to be a contender.
Yeah, I agree. And I don't know. It's the odds are astronomical, but it could happen. All right, so we have some more.
Side note: Bryce Hall will probably end up being my number 2 overall running back, I think, going into the year. I love him going into this year.
He is my number 2 running back as well.
Yeah.
So we will be trying to get him in our league. All right, so we have 2 rookies here: JJ McCarthy, Bo Nix. I have 0 interest in them. I think we can make this quick. What do you think?
I wouldn't say 0 on McCarthy, but pretty close to 0. It is 0 on Nix. I've got McCarthy as my 26th best quarterback. But, like, the guys I have ahead of him, I don't have a lot of confidence in those. I got Geno Smith at 25. I got Derek Carr, Will Levis, Deshaun Watson. Like, I don't have a lot of confidence in those guys. So, like, if McCarthy's lighting it up in training camp, I could take a shot at him as as the 20th quarterback off the board. They've got a decent surrounding cast. They got a decent coaching staff. I don't know. I'm willing to take a shot on him a little bit. Not super excited. Again. Having this 25th overall or 26th overall quarterback.
Do you think either is getting drafted?
I would imagine McCarthy's probably getting a little bit. It's probably getting drafted, round 14 or 15.
McCarthy's 1501. Bo Nix would be 17th round if there was one. So
he's not. Yeah.
Yeah.
I want no part of Nix.
I don't see the upside with McCarthy personally. Yeah. I think he's like Mac Jones. I think. which doesn't bode well for him. All right, so we have some running backs. Before we get to the running backs, I don't have Michael Penix here. I wanted to talk about him for a second because we talked about him as rookie of the year as 75-1. Now he's not being drafted for obvious reasons, but I was thinking, like, what if the Falcons drafted him because they signed Kirk Cousins to this $100 million contract? Forgive me if you heard this yesterday. So they signed Cousins, and they're so happy. They're like, yeah, we have a quarterback now. We don't have this garbage that we had last year. And so 2 months later, like leading up to the draft, they see Cousins as he's coming off a torn Achilles, and they've been seeing him throw like every day. And what if they're like, like, this guy's not healthy at all? Like, and that's why they drafted Penix. And if Cousins is not healthy enough to start and Penix beats him out, a la Russell Wilson beating out Matt Flynn, Penix at suddenly a 75-1 would look amazing with those odds. Now, I know you're not allowed to talk about betting, but from a fantasy perspective, just like translate that to fantasy, like obviously you're not going to draft Penix until you know that he's going to be starting. But if he is named the starter, I do like him as one of those late round guys. You're targeting like streaming quarterbacks you can play. He's like one of those guys I'd like to pair with someone else and like try to just get the good matchups in. Then he has good weapons with London and Pitts and Bijan. So, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I like the weapons there. I like Bijan to take a big step forward. I wonder. I've actually, as I've thought about it, I am not as down on the Penix draft pick as I once was. I was with you, Millen grade, terrible. I think as we've gotten distance from the draft, I'm more like like you draft this guy. Yeah, you can get out of the Kirk Cousins deal in 2 years. It's really it's in essence, a 2-year contract for 27 plus whatever that's basically it's a 2-year contract for $89 million. I mean they can in essence get out of it after year 2 for after paying Kirk Cousins $45 million a year, which by the way is more than Patrick Mahomes on an annual basis. It's kind of not exactly a value contract deal, but I wonder if they look at Penix and just think he's going to be phenomenal and let him sit for 2 years, kind of like a Jordan Love scenario, or sort of like Aaron Rodgers scenario, where is it the wisest use of your draft capital? No, but anyway, that's not the question you asked. It's hard to know. I mean, if they signed Kirk Cousins to this contract and $90 million guaranteed deal, and he's not healthy, they just wasted a whole lot of money.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess I don't know. Arthur Blank is a bajillionaire. Like, what does it matter, right? What's 90 billion? What's 90? Whatever. Wasn't he owned Home Depot or something? What is he? I don't know. I don't know how he, anyway. I can't remember how he made his money, but he's a bajillionaire. He's whatever, $10 billion art, whatever. So who cares? It's not my money. $90 million is a lot of money. And if Kirk Cousins is not healthy, Michael Penix better be NFL MVP. Otherwise, Falcons fans will not forget it.
Yeah, you're right. He was the owner of Home Depot. But yeah, so let's get to the running backs here. Jonathan Brooks was the first running back drafted. Again, I'm not drafting anyone on the Panthers. And that includes Brooks. He's coming off a torn ACL. If he weren't coming off a torn ACL, I'd like him a lot. Very talented player, but just I don't like running backs off torn ACLs. So any thoughts here, or are you just not drafting him either because he's on the Panthers?
Yeah, I'm not drafting him. But I want to keep. I would imagine he's not being drafted very high. I can't imagine he's being drafted. Well, let me take that back. To me, I have him as my 40th running back overall, with a little asterisk. But if he's totally healthy, I wonder is he going to be if he's drafted in the double-digit rounds? It'd be worth considering him. Because I wonder as he gets healthy, in the last few weeks of the season, could he be a value play? Could he be a really quality RB2 or flex play as he gets healthy and learns the offense, things of that nature? I could see that. We saw that with Hall last year. Hall coming off the ACL. We saw it with Javonte Williams as well. and then late in the year they kind of Hall especially turned it up. So I wonder if Brooks could be that kind of player, even if the team around him sucks.
Well, you won't be getting him in the double-digit rounds. His ADP is 904, which is too early. Too early.
Yeah, too early.
Yeah. Trey Benson's the next running back. He'll have opportunities. I think James Conner is the starter, but Conner has a checkered injury history, so Conner is great down the stretch, but he can get hurt, and if so, Trey Benson will get the job. And Arizona's offensive line is actually pretty decent. So if he gets opportunities, then he can make the most out of them. I like Benson as a player. So if he had a better chance of starting week 1, I'd be way higher on him. But what are your thoughts on
him? Starting running back kind of doesn't really mean as much anymore as it used to. They'll work him in. He'll get some touches. I think I like the Cardinals offense a little more than maybe the average person does. I've got Trey Benson as my 45th overall running back going into the league, into the year. But I've got a little bit of an asterisk next to him. I think I could see him with some upward mobility. I've always kind of been, lower on James Conner than the rest of the market, going back to even when James Conner was a first-round fantasy pick. I remember telling people, that's stupid, don't do it. Yeah, I could easily see Trey Benson kind of overtaking him. Where is he being drafted, though, is a question. I would imagine I'd love to see Trey Benson maybe around 12 or 13, but my guess is he'll probably be drafted in round 11.
906.
Yeah, that's well, never mind. I take everything back.
Yeah, I hear you. And James Conner, that stings a little bit because I don't know if you remember week 18 in the single entry in DraftKings, I played a Zamir White over James Conner, and that was the end result was a difference of $50,000, which I was not on the positive side on that. Let's just say that. So that hurts to this day. So Jalen Wright in the next running back. Miami traded the 3rd round pick next year for him. They moved into the 4th round to get him, which was kind of a surprise because they were Raheem Mostert and what's it, Devon Achan. So like you gotta wonder like why they trading such a premium pick for this guy, but they must love him. So you got to imagine he's going to be worked in at some point. I don't want to fall into a trap though of assuming that, but I would take a shot on him if he's available late. So what do you think?
Yeah, I have him as my 60th running back off the board. I just don't know what to make of him. Everything I read about him that he's a good player, not a phenomenal talent. And it's a crowded backfield. So I don't know what to make of that. Now, maybe Mostert's going to be gone or phased out. Maybe Devon Achan is not as good as we think. I don't love any of those guys, to be honest. And I'm not totally sure what to make of the offense. So I don't know. It feels like a hard sell to me. I would imagine Jalen Wright is probably going to be drafted in the, very late, but is he even worth that? I don't know. I got a question mark there.
His ADP is 11. Make a wish.
I was thinking around 15 or 16. I would not draft him in the 11th.
Yeah, John saying it's a future play for the Fish. McDaniels loved his running backs. That's true. I just feel like you can get these running backs anywhere. I don't know. I think trading a premium pick like that is a mistake. But yeah, I don't know, this guy could be great. So I guess I understand it. But all right, Ray Davis here with the Bills. He's going to be the second fiddle to James Cook. But you imagine he might be the goal line back too. So I think he has some fantasy potential. What do you think about him?
I have him as my 62nd running back right now, but another asterisk with I think he can easily have some upward mobility because I'm not a big James Cook fan. I'm not going back and watch a bunch yet. So my plan is in June and July to go back and watch some of those Bills games late in the season. If memory serves me right, I think Cook was being overrated. And so I can easily see Ray Davis coming in and getting some, not just goal line work or short yardage work, but being worked in a little bit more and kind of being relied upon kind of, in the second half of the year. I could easily see that happening. You're always concerned with Josh Allen, obviously stealing the rushing touchdowns in the red zone. But I could see Ray Davis be the guy that I kind of want to get some upward mobility to. And, if I could get him in the round, round 14 and stash him, that could be maybe some value there.
Yeah, John's saying Bill's like Ty Johnson as RB too much. Yeah, we'll see. Maybe Davis will emerge in training camp of the preseason. He is currently being undrafted, 17th round. So yeah, it looks like you'll be able to get him late. Chris asking, great show. Now, if you'll please allow me to ask just one more wrestling question, you feel free to ask whatever you want, Chris. All right, we have a couple more here to go. Tyron Tracy. I listed him because the Giants traded away Barkley, so right now they have Devin Singletary, and like Singletary is great for the Texans last year, but he does not have a great track record. So I don't think it's crazy to think that Tyron Tracy could emerge as the starting running back. So I think he's worth if you're in like 10 fantasy leagues or something, use a late round pick in one of the leagues on him. I think that's fine. So I think that he's worth consideration late, but no interest otherwise.
Yeah, I think everything I've read about him is he's a above average talent, and I totally agree. By the way, once upon a time, I was the biggest Devin Singletary booster. I feel like I was back in when it was 2018 was his rookie year, I think. I was just a huge fan of it. I loved him his rookie year. He was never quite the same after that. So I don't know what happened with him, but anyway, yeah, I think Singletary could easily be displaced by somewhere between week 5 and week 8. I think he'd easily be displaced.
Okay, yeah, he's not being drafted either, so you can get him late. Blake Corum, known very well from that Michigan offense. So I was kind of eager to see where he go because I actually have his Rainmaker card. It was a legendary, but still, I was eager to see where he'd go, and then he went to the Rams. So I was really disappointed because Kyron Williams is entrenched there. But Kyron Williams got hurt twice last year, so if he goes down, Corum will have a chance. So he, usually want to draft like good backups, and I guess he qualifies. So where do you stand on him?
I'm gonna have to go back and watch Kyron Williams as well because I feel like I was higher on him throughout last year. As I went back and watched a little bit. I'm wondering. I don't know. I currently have Corum as the 48th best running back right now. But the guys that I have ahead of him, I could easily. So I'm a little surprised. I feel like you have him much lower than I do. I think the Rams are committed to easily getting a second guy in the mix there. And so, yeah, I think the guys I have ahead of him, though, Khalil Herbert, J.K. Dobbins, Ty Chandler, Jerome Ford, Trey Benson. I could easily see Blake Corum getting ahead of all those guys, to be honest. So I think I'm a little higher on than you are. Maybe I'm higher than the market. My guess is he's probably if those other guys were in ninth, he's probably a 10th round pick as well, which might be a little too early for him. I think I'd rather him in the 12th or 13th.
It's 10:07 is his ADP. So yeah, I think too early for a guy who's definitely an RB2 right now. Now, that could change for sure, but yeah. So we have 4 receivers here at the bottom. I'm not sure if any of them are going to be drafted really. If you want to touch on them at all, we have Jermaine Burton, a receiver for the Bengals. Looks like T. Higgins not be traded. Just listen to him because what if he is? Troy Franklin for the Broncos. I thought he was a second-round talent. He went in the 4th. So kind of interesting with Judy gone. Cortland Sutton there's been some trade talk there. Devontae Walker, who, the Ravens don't have much of a receiver outside of Zay Flowers. So he could be the receiver too, which is interesting. And then Javon Baker, who he I don't know if you heard his interview, but he said he was the best receiver in the draft. So
I like the confidence.
I know. Yeah. So we'll see. Then there are also some running backs here. Anyone else you want to talk about?
Yeah. None of these guys are draftable in my mind, maybe if there's 1 or 2 guys someone likes, you want to draft them in the last round, fine. And I can't imagine any of these guys are being drafted outside of the last round or so. I can't, if any of these guys have an ADP above round 14, the market is ridiculous. Now I bet you're going to tell me.
Wait, sorry. I was laughing at Chris's comment. Oh. Who are you talking about? I just got so distracted. Sorry.
No, I was just saying I can't imagine any of these guys have an ADP, other than the last few rounds of the draft, 16th round or later kind of guys.
Yeah. So Jermaine Burton is being undrafted. So is Devontae Walker. with Troy Franklin and Javon Baker. Javon Baker is also being undrafted, and Troy Franklin. Troy Franklin has an ADP being drafted. Do you want to guess what it is?
I mean, I can't. Well, I mean, maybe people are thinking he's going to have some opportunities there, but I can't imagine it's more than round 14.
You're right on the money. It's 1401.
Yeah.
So yeah, I get it. Like there's gonna be some opportunities, but don't really see it. Here's the comment from Chris. Well, I was gonna say this for Quacky, given he knew you in college, but if you weren't both married, well, Kenny and I have known each other longer than Quacky.
That's right. Come on.
Yeah. Actually, you are the co-host on the show who's known me the longest. Charlie, I've known since 2010. I've known you since 1999. I've known Tom since 2004. Butters and Nuggets I've known for a few years, but not nearly that long. Jacob, I think, is I don't know when I talked to Jacob for the first time. Jacob could probably tell me. I think it was like 2016 or 2017. And then anyone else? Ben Wassley, we just met recently a couple years ago. So yeah, Kenny, you are by
the
far
OG.
Yeah, you beat Tom by 5 years. So anyway, the question is, if you weren't both married, who would win in a tongue wrestling contest? What does it even entail? I don't know. How do you win in a tongue wrestling contest? It's I don't. Kenny, I love you, man, but I don't want to find out when you. don't
Sorry,
take that
there's no. Yeah, sorry, Chris. I'm a happily married man.
Yeah, will not be engaging in such activities there. So yeah, thank you for the question, Chris. We have one more thing to do here, and of course, Kenny, we are back.
Oh yes,
we are back. Pack opening time. Rookie debut booster pack. Chris saying, "Will you both win or lose?" Anything wrong with that? Absolutely true. All right, so we have a rookie debut booster pack. These are all rookie players. There are 3 cards. You get a 50-50 chance of getting a rare card. I don't know why they just don't give you a rare card. There's also an instant win here. You can win $100 or $1,000. I think maybe in $1,000 if you're lucky, but it's probably not going to happen. Actually, we opened one pack last in the fall, and I actually got an instant win. It wasn't $1,000; it was $100, so it's pretty good. All right, so the players in this are the 6 quarterbacks drafted in the first round, the top 3 running backs, and the top 10 receivers, and then and the top tight end, who's Bowers. So we'll see what we get. I'm obviously hoping for a rare Marvin Harrison Jr. or Malik Neighbors. Those would be the best ones, or Brock Bowers would be nice, but. Kenny, you've opened some of these packs too. You said you told me you got some good stuff too, right?
Yeah, I got some good ones.
Okay, all right. So we'll see. I'm opening up only one pack. I hate opening packs, but we're just doing it for the show. All right. So this is exciting. It's the first time I'm opening up a pack for 2024. So this is fun.
Let's go.
See, same animation as last year. A little disappointing. They didn't give anything new here. We got a rare. Awesome. Mims. It's not possible for me to get Mims. He's not in this, but if it was Mims, I somehow wouldn't be surprised.
You would figure out a way.
I know. I know you're not super into golf. I know you've been playing a little Rainmakers golf. I've opened up so many Aaron Baddeley's. It's crazy. I like 3 packs in a row. I was like Aaron Baddeley. I was like, come on, like this guy's he's at least okay. He's not great. So like, why couldn't this be Scotty Scheffler? You know. Anyway, let's open up card number 1. Let's see if we get some good here. Receiver number 4, which is Brian Thomas Jr. So I hope you're right about him here. I do think he has some potential. So not a bad first card open. I think the worst card open would be probably Bo Nix or maybe Michael Penix Jr. if we're wrong about him. I feel bad for anyone who opened up who got like a legendary or Rainmaker or Michael Penix Jr. And like they're like, okay, maybe the Raiders will draft him. He'll have like Devontae Adams and Jacoby Myers to throw to, but no. Anyway, card number 2. It's QB number 5. So it's JJ McCarthy. It's all these guys I've thrown shade on in this episode. So who else have I thrown shade on? I feel like I'm gonna get that here in my rare card. Do you remember? I guess Adonai Mitchell is qualifies,
Yeah,
right? Okay. I think this is gonna be Adonai Mitchell. We'll see.
or Brooks. You,
Brooks. Oh,
I mean,
Jonathan Brooks. Yeah,
yeah.
This could be running back one. Okay, let's see. Receiver number 8. Who is that? Hold on. I have to look that up.
Not Purcell. It's after Purcell, right? It would be.
All right, let's count. Harrison was 1, Neighbors 2, Odunze 3, Brian Thomas 4, Xavier Worthy 5, Ricky Pearsall 6. He would have counted. Leggett 7, Keon Coleman 8. Okay,
Okay.
that's not bad. Maybe Buffalo's number 1 receiver as a rare card. I think that's pretty good. So all right, not a bad pack. I'm happy you got a rare. This could easily be in 3 cores, but still probably not worth the $22. Let's actually see how much money I lost. I love doing this. Let's do portfolio. How much money do you think I lost? I paid $22.
Yeah, those cards are worth like 77 cents and maybe $1.70 and $1.50. Yeah, we're looking at like
we'll go by top offer here. So $9.25 plus 120 plus 175. That's $11, and then plus $1.15. That's $12.15. So I lost $10 on my $22 investment.
Come on, that's pretty good, actually.
Yeah, it's actually not bad for opening a pack.
I was actually trying to purchase a pack, but for some reason my internet's going really slow.
Oh, so that's too bad. We love our pack openings here, but we'll open up a pack every week. Why not? It'll be fun. So it's a good way to build a collection.
I have been playing golf. I kind of forget to. I've been forgetting to put my entries in some weeks. So
it's funny that how opposite we are in that, because you forget to do your entries. I have to drive to New Jersey to do it. If I plan my week around my trips to the Trenton Thunder baseball stadium, which is, by the way, Samuel J. Palmieri Jr. Field. I had no idea what there's a field name until I went there during the day a couple weeks ago, and I was like, "Wow, there's a field name here." It's always dark when I show up. I never saw the letters.
It's so good.
Cassandra saying no pack opening. Kenny, not a man of the people tonight.
Cassandra, I let you down.
The internet's not working. Kenny's trying. I guarantee.
I am trying, but I can't for some reason. I am struggling over here. Let me see if I open a different browser. Let me see. I am a man of the people. I need to redeem myself here.
Yeah, sometimes it could be the browser. I feel like DraftKings, especially like the Rainmaker side of that site, like it tends to malfunction in some browsers sometimes. And if you open up a new browser, it tends to work. So
yeah, it's kind of buggy in a weird way.
Yeah.
I'm like, come on, DraftKings, you're a multi-billion-dollar organization. Get your code right. Come on, guys.
Yeah, it's funny how these billion-dollar companies can't seem to get like the small things correct. You'd think they would. Any luck?
Yeah. My it's like not loading. I don't know why.
All right. Well, like I said, we'll have plenty of opportunity during the summer and during the season to open up packs. So,
Cassandra, forgive me for my sins against you.
Yeah. Well, I'll look forward to the pack openings next week. But yeah, I guess that's anything else before we head out.
No, I'm. Wait a minute. It's loading.
Okay.
All right, here we go.
Exciting.
I am purchasing a pack right now. You know what? We're gonna buy 2 packs.
Oh boy!
Because I need to atone for my sins, and so I'm buying 2. You know, it's it. $22 out the window. Here we go, Cassandra. Some people have to do a walk of atonement. I have to do a pack opening of atonement.
You're like you're Cersei instead of getting stuff thrown at you. You're opening packs.
All right, I'm gonna open up here.
Cassandra says I knew it could guilt Kenny into this with that line.
That's all it took. All right, here we go. Let's see. Let's mark portfolio. All right, and let's go to packs. There it is.
Oh, you have a rare golf prize pack.
Whoa, that's right. I gotta open that.
Well, let's open that first. Let's open that first.
All right, here's a. Again, I don't even know who most of these golfers are. So,
well, if you get Scotty Scheffler, that's like $100 card.
Oh, that's a lot of animation.
Yeah, Ricky Fowler. Okay, that's a good one. I think that's. If I already guessed, that's like $20, maybe.
All right, let's go.
Maybe 15. I don't know. But well, I guess we could see
right.
how off I am.
Let's see. That Ricky Fowler card is.
Never mind. That was $4. Well, whatever.
Maybe, I won that card. I won that card last week. I completely forgot to open it.
I'm pretty surprised that's not more. Because he's a pretty good golfer. I guess like he's not having a good year, but. Three quarters. Well, hopefully we got Harrison, Neighbors, and Daniels. We got QB4, so we're hoping my theory.
Penix.
Yes. I think he's the least expensive of all the rookies. Oh, RB1. There we go. You have Brooks, so maybe at the end of the year.
And then
QB3, which is Drake May. There's certainly some upside with him.
Not a great pack there.
No. Well, hopefully this one's better. Well, hopefully get instant win. Oh, we got a rare. We got a rare. Okay.
All right, let's see what we got. Receiver 4.
Oh, we both got receiver 4. Brian Thomas.
All right, I like Brian Thomas. Let's see here. Wide receiver 9.
Who is Lad McConkey.
Oh.
Well, you like Lad McConkey, don't you?
Yeah. I want to have him as my 60th receiver, I think.
Yeah, and PPR, he's even better. Like, think about that.
All right, here we go. We're going to get who do I think? I think I'm going to get Caleb Williams, QB1 right here.
Okay, let's do it.
In DraftKings, Rainmakers QBs are worth more than
receiver. Oh, that's a good one. Neighbors rare.
That's right.
You made money off this pack for sure. What's if I had to guess? Neighbors rare $50.
No, not that much. You don't think?
$20? Oh man,
$20.
Why am I like? I'm not estimating these guys correctly, but it feels like there should be more, shouldn't it? Like,
yeah, I broke even on that pack, and then 1, 2, 3, 4. So I lost about $17 on one pack and broke even on the other.
Well, it's what you asked for when you open these packs.
That's right. And then here are some other
Jalen Tolbert.
So some other packs or players I've been acquiring coming in. So here's my other rookies.
You got Drake May rare as well.
Packs I've opened. So nice. Yeah, I got some other anyway. So
oh wait, you got another. That was your second. Go back. I don't know if you can.
Oh yeah.
Wait, I was curious. Like you have 2 Neighbors rares. That's pretty good.
Yeah. Right there.
Yeah. That's wow. That's your second Neighbors rare. That's awesome.
Yep.
I think that should be worth way more than $20. Because like, I don't know. Maybe they're just not valuing him as much. But I feel like the good rare receivers are usually like $40 or $50.
I got Caleb Williams here. I got another Brooks. I got a Bowers.
You have some cards here. So
QB3, QB2.
You know what these are going to be good for is the preseason contests, which like they're not for cash, but like you can win like good packs.
I want a lot of good packs. So I got a bunch of rookies and then here's my golf players, so my golf cards. So I have I'm thoroughly immersed in the world of Rainmakers.
Yeah, I love it. I love Rainmakers. Can't wait for the season. I feel like I'm all geared up. I'm gonna have so many old contests, like just like the facts feeding my new the contest this year. So I'm excited for it. Chris saying the hockey game Kenny isn't watching is quite fantastic. Also, Oilers playoff overs. Oh wow, Canucks took the lead. They're up 5-4. That's great.
What is a Canuck, by the way? What does that even mean?
It's a bird. I think it's a type of bird. I think it's I don't know if it's the I don't know if it's the national bird for Canada. Maybe it is, but I know a Canuck is a bird of some sort. Who knows? Like Canadians are strange people. They have
They are strange.
they have these butter baths at the what is it, the pudding baths at the wedding and stuff like that. I don't know. My Canadian knowledge comes from South Park, so shame. We are we're rewatching Game of Thrones. By the way, you knew that with Tom. He's at the end of season 2, so we know what's coming at the end of season 3. So can't wait for that.
Does Tom know what's going at the end of season 3?
No, he has no idea. I do have some questions for him. I was going to ask him this. I did ask him this. I told him to think about it. What was this is a question for you to ponder. You don't have to answer now. What was Jaqen Hagar doing in the in the King's Landing prison cells? This guy's a faceless man who's a mercenary assassin. How did he get captured? And then he was kind of wheeled off to the wall in that was Biter and Rorg, I think, were the 2 companions. It was like the crazy, like I don't know what they were, cannibals or whatever. They were the 3 dangerous men, right? Like yeah. How did Jaqen Hagar get captured, and like what was he doing in the prison cells? I actually have a theory on this that I was going to bring up.
That's actually a really good question. That's a good question. I hadn't thought of that. In the moment, you didn't realize who he was.
Right.
So, yeah, I don't know. That's a good question.
I don't know if I should tell you my theory now or wait, because I wanted to. I didn't want to. I don't know if Tom's listening, so I didn't want to spoil it for him. But
okay.
Well, you can think about it, and then I'll talk about it next week. Okay. All right. Art the Lad McConkey. All right. Yeah. Thanks. Thanks everyone for commenting, listening. Really appreciate you guys, especially Germ the 444. Thank you so much. Just really appreciate your support. Canuck is slang for Canadians. That's true. I guess it is true. Yeah, I think that's correct. So I was wrong about I searched define Canuck in Google. It says a Canadian, sometimes derogatory in U.S. use. I really thought it was a bird. I don't know why. Maybe something. I don't know. I was thinking of something else, but yeah. So I was sorry. I was wrong. The South Park led me astray with the Canadian knowledge. Anyway, thanks guys so much. Really appreciate it. Kenny, do you have anything to plug? Maybe your website, which I could pull up right now.
If anyone's interested, thecapIsFake.com. I did post a couple articles there over the last few weeks. I think people have maybe already seen those, but I did finally collect all of the data for the article's not live yet. But I guess I can I'll post it when it's live. But I basically have been going through and looking at how much cash each team has actually spent over the last couple years. So I've got all the data going back to 2011. So if anyone cares, I'll have that posted. I can just if anyone's watching, I can show you this crazy, ridiculous spreadsheet that I've got going on here. Can the people see that right there? There we go.
There we go.
So this is the spreadsheet. This is how much actual cash every team has spent on players from 2011 to 2023. Wow, so
that's awesome.
So I'm gonna try to organize this in some fashion, and anyway, so I'll try to post that. So on the capisfake.com, there's some articles on there on fantasy football. There's some cap state stuff. Feel free to check it out. The cap is fake, and it is indeed fake.
Actually, I had an argument with someone about that, but and then I was like, no, there's actually the website. It's called thecapIsFake.com. So maybe you went to it. But yeah, thanks guys for listening once again. Please hit like, subscribe, comment below, share this video. Visit the link in the description for the merch store. Check out thecapIsFake.com or buy my book, Jerks of the College Years. Any help would be really appreciated. We'll be back tomorrow. Going to have the guest I plan to have on last Thursday, Scott Mason from Play Like a Jet. So we're going to talk about the Jets draft and Jets chances, but like also get into like some old video game talk. I know Scott has been like champing at the bit to talk about like old video games. So nice. Looking forward to that. And then Tom is going to be the co-host on Saturday, so always looking forward to that. And then normal schedule as usual next week. So we'll be back tomorrow. I hope everyone has a good night. And Kenny, love doing the show with you. Glad you're back. So look forward to our upcoming episodes about fantasy and whatnot. But yeah, guys, I will talk to you later.
Love it. You the man, Walt.